Hey kids, join the club. Get the all-new CCXCC t-shirt made with 100% mutant power. Be like these cool kids. Get it now on dinobeast.com and chrisandersoncomics.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Xmen Comic Club. I'm joined once again, as always, actually, by John Coates. John, how you doing, man?
I am excellent.
Awesome. And this week we are again graced with the presence of our good friend Matt King. Matt, how you doing, man? All right.
Doing excellent as well.
Awesome. We are on issue 112 of X-Men. Last week we saw a pretty bizarre issue where we're just sort of dropped into a circus that Beast comes upon as he's trying to track down the X-Men and finds that Mesmero has hypnotized them all and turned them into circus freaks to make an extra buck. Okay. But just as things are heating up, Mesmero is knocked out, and who should walk in but their old nemesis, Magneto. And that's where this issue finds us. Matt, you said this was one of your earliest memories. This particular issue.
This issue I read a million times. When I reread it for the show, I mean, just every page came back to me. You know, good stuff. Yeah, this is definitely one of my earliest comics.
Yeah, that's a good feeling, that bit of nostalgia when it hits you just right. I think, John, this is a George Perez cover, is it not?
Yeah. George Perez and looks like Bob Layton doing inks.
Bob Layton. Mm-hmm. Nice.
And boy, is it a good one. Yeah. Great cover. I think this is my favorite. This is my favorite Magneto cover in the Claremont run.
I love Wolverine's big bright eyes as those things are coming right towards his head.
And the sweat.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And you got the Kirby crackle and everything, so you still have the legacy of the Curb in it. That's a great one. Yeah.
And Storm looks very Cockrum Storm.
Yeah. Still got the cat eyes. Love it.
Yep.
Yeah,
crack her open and see what we got.
Yeah, and
also above the logo here, now on sale monthly.
Oh yeah, there we go. Now on sale monthly. So we've hit it. We've gone from bi-monthly to monthly now.
Yeah, 1978 is how long it took.
Wow, from 75 to 78, huh?
Yeah, August of 78, and so the next issue will be only a month away.
Whoa, luckies.
And we get right into it. Terry Austin on inks for John Byrne again. Great opening splash. Magneto triumphant. Cool shot of the team, all in costume, sort of in shock, angry, ready to throw down. And Magneto just kind of looking, he's just calm, just casual. Just like, I said I'll destroy you, and I shall.
The first couple of Byrne splash pages didn't hit me the way that the Cockrum ones did.
Mm-hmm.
Cockrum was really good at that, like, let's go, let's get into this awesome pose thing. This one, he's finally, I think the last one too, but he's finally doing it. You just got this like organic pile of X-Men, it's right here coming at you. And then this big foreground Magneto standing there, so stoic. That's such a great image.
It's a lot of characters to get on the page.
It is a lot of characters. So you got to really squish them in there.
I mean, look at the Beast is like,
yeah,
his head and neck are over the Magneto word balloon there.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So here we go. Like, Magneto's just kind of telling him that, he's just going to like tear him up. He's going to kill him. And here comes Wolverine. Bull. And he's still stewing about having to leave that fight last time in issue 104. He's like, that's the only reason you won last time, Buckethead, because Cyclops turned us chicken and made us run.
I love it. I love it.
Never going to live that down.
No way.
8 issues later, he's still steaming about it.
Yeah.
I like the way why how they do the inks here on like Cyclops and Beast being next to each other, because they're both blue. And so they give, Cyclops gets all these heavy blacks.
Yes.
And so it really makes him look different than the Beast. And so then they're like not giving the Beast the heavy shadows.
Yeah, that's something you really got to think about when you're drawing this, so that everything doesn't sort of blend together. And I think most artists wouldn't have considered it, but these guys are professionals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and but Cyclops, he's got the cool head, and he's like, hey, if Magneto goads us into an attack, we're as good as dead.
Now it should be said that they're inside of one of those small like gypsy style covered wagons that you'd find at like a 1930s circus. It's a very small like dressing room with a bed in it, and that's why they're all sort of on top of each other. In fact, this even seems like it's pretty large for what they're standing in this shot.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you went back to the last pages of the last issue, he's got like so much room in this wagon here.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how many people are in this room.
Sure. Yeah.
So
it's a
little suspension of disbelief there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's comics, man.
Yeah, it's comics.
And we get Magneto, just kind of this great little face of his where he's just like, oh, well, you're already dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do.
He's got kind of the crazy eyes going on.
Yeah, he's really looking psycho here. I love it.
Mm-hmm. And so Cyclops is giving orders. He's going to take charge. Everybody get outside. So we got room to fight. Nightcrawler, scout ahead. And of course he bamps out, and then we got our little Ach9, where he's yelling from outside. How's your German accent there, Matt?
No, I'm not doing it.
No. And we get this great. I always love these kind of panels too, where everyone's like turning around and looking at you. Because like everyone's shocked. Good Colossus face here.
Great
like,
Colossus. Great Colossus.
Really good.
And then we go up to this next page where he rips the wall off, and they're like up, however many miles in the sky. These two panels with Nightcrawler hanging off the steps, it's just like overloading my nostalgia senses. It's like I looked at this comic so many times and remember Nightcrawler hanging on those steps when I was like an 8-year-old kid.
That's a good moment too.
It is.
Rips the wall off, and all of a sudden they're just like up above the clouds.
Yeah, you're going, what is happening here?
Yeah, and Nightcrawler's barely hanging on.
I thought he was Magneto, not Woodneato.
Good point.
As
a total aside.
As
a total aside, speaking of wood and metal and Magneto, Ed Piskor had this drawing of Magneto for one of the Grand Design covers. Do you remember what I'm talking about? And he used like a plywood wood grain to make it look like it was like the magnetic forces. But it never sold me because I work with wood, like roofing all day. And all I can see when I see that is plywood.
Yeah.
And it's just like, anyway, aside over.
Yeah. This was a page
I
where
mean, it's not magnetic at all to me when I look at it.
well, apparently he also has this like
Are
side.
we not syncing up?
Maybe not. No. Apparently he also has this side power of being able to control wood. But I'm assuming it's the nails and pins and things in the thing that he's able to move, and the wood's just coming along for the ride. But I was really tripping out on the line work that Austin brings to this page. So much that I wasn't paying attention to what I was reading or anything like that. And then I kind of like was just looking at it, and I got to the bottom and I went, what the hell was he thinking when he laid this page out? Look at that last panel. That is like Wolverine has to duck just so that you can see him in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very odd choice. And then with Magneto, like his helmet popping out of the top of it, it leads you right from the third panel into the fourth panel and totally like orphans the fourth panel. It's just really an odd choice, and of course, you're not going to get every one. I mean, look at Alex Toth, the way that, he's one of the greatest, comic artists of all time. And if you look at his panel layout, like page layout, sometimes like word balloons have to cover entire faces because, he just didn't plan for it. Mm-hmm. But I just thought that really stuck out to me after I was like, oh my God, these inks are beautiful. And then what the hell is this? Anyway.
I mean, it wouldn't be perfect, but even if they got rid of Colossus's last word balloon in panel 4 and kind of overlaid Wolverine's head into that panel, it wouldn't look as suspect. He's ducking under that panel, like you said.
Yeah. That's what really got me, is that he's like literally ducking so that you can see him.
Yeah, it's an odd choice. They just tried something out. Didn't quite pull it off. But we still get Wolverine getting angry. He's ready to attack, and Magneto's like, if you want me, madman, here I am. Do your worst.
Yeah, man.
And as we saw in issue 104, Wolverine is one of the worst people to try and attack Magneto because of his metal claws. But then everyone got to hold him back. They're always holding him back. Wolverine don't.
So many muscles in this first panel.
Yeah. Yeah, so many.
Mm-hmm. Which is funny because I had read this issue today too, which is a reprint of X-Men 45.
Mm-hmm.
And he fights Cyclops basically fights Magneto on his own, and Magneto says something, well, you only have the strength of an ordinary man. And then you see this panel, he's like absolutely ripped.
Yeah. He's gotten some reps in since then.
Right.
Yeah, like they still call him Slim, but it's like he's pretty jacked. He is not a slim guy anymore.
Not at all, especially from the issue before this where he was dressed in like civilian clothes and was like playing a bouncer. He looked like, Colossus, basically. But to that point, we find out here, perhaps, that is it here that we find out that this may not be the Magneto from that issue that you were talking about?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's is it? I don't think it's here, but
is it coming up?
It comes into it.
Okay.
Though.
All right.
Yeah. So basically, Cyclops is trying to talk sense into everybody, like, don't touch Magneto because he's keeping us afloat. Like, we're flying way up in the air. If we mess with him at all, he's just going to drop us and we're all going to die.
That is a great point. This page, I was looking up the original, like trying to find the some like high quality scans of the original artwork, and the Comic Art Fans or something like that is a site that people can scan high quality versions of their original art. And they didn't have a high quality scan of this, but somebody does own it, and their name is Rob L. And you go and you look at the pages that Rob L owns, and you can tell very quickly who Rob L is. And just knowing that he's a big Byrne and Austin fan, thought it was kind of cool to know that this page in particular is owned by a certain Rob L that we probably all know.
Oh,
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good find, Chris. Good research there.
Yeah. Deep cut.
Yeah. So now Magneto's going to give us, his little, what he's been up to since issue 104. And he made two appearances in 2 other comics since then.
Yeah.
Cap Annual 4 and Champions number 15.
He's been busy boy.
16. Yeah.
So in these early days of Marvel Comics, they really do make an effort to keep continuity very straight, Like when I was reading in the Epic collection, they really tell you in those Marvel team up issues and annuals, like this takes place between this issue and this issue, They really whereas today, they would have Magneto in 2 different books or whatever, and it'd be fine. Nobody cares, but
50 multiverses.
I feel like they were really into the continuity.
Yeah.
Right.
The office would look like some sort of crazy person following an investigation, tracking down a serial killer in a movie. Yeah. And then in 5 dimensions.
A lot of red string.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I love that back when they cared about the continuity and they just tried to tell you other random issues, just getting you to trying to read everything that they were putting out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just the way it feels connected is pretty nice.
If you flip back 1 page, John,
mm-hmm.
on the right-hand side, that looked like my first skateboard right there.
Nice.
Oh, yeah? One of these guys?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
That's awesome. And of course, Magneto says basically he watched the Beast fly away from the mansion in his Quinjet, and he just followed the Beast down to the circus. And here we get our flashback of last issue. And then Magneto spots Mesmero and then comes in, knocks him out. And then here's where what you were talking about, where he's saying in X-Men issue 58, the Magneto that was in that was a robot, supposedly, and not real Magneto. And Mesmero was serving the robot Magneto back in that issue.
I wonder why that is that he decided to say that he's a robot in those issues. What purpose does that serve us?
I didn't read the issues, but I was assuming maybe they killed him and that it was revealed he was a robot or something. So then they had to follow through in these issues, but that's just speculation.
It just sounds like they're just discovering. He's telling them that it was a robot.
Yeah,
time,
right.
So maybe it's to wipe the slate clean for Claremont so that he can now develop this character fully. The real Magneto. I don't know, just spitballing, but who knows?
Right, some sort of continuity fix.
Yeah, I wonder. It's a question for the man.
And I also wonder if maybe back then they were still trying to do Magneto as like a Doctor Doom for the X-Men, and so Doom always has Doom bots and all these robots and stuff. So they were giving Magneto also robots. So and then we get back to the present, and they're still flying, and they're way up in the air, and these jets are coming after them to try and figure out what this UFO is up here. And but they're still flying faster than the jet can keep up with them.
Yeah, they don't even have missiles that can go that fast. That's how fast they're going.
Yeah.
One
Whoever
one of them on the helmet has Perez on the helmet.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh yeah,
I wonder
the back.
who
I don't know who the
Tyrador
other-
is.
Here's a Tyrador.
Yeah. Great. These are great drawings. They're so intricate too. And somebody really loves to draw these carts because they're also like just super ornate. Even the tiny one that the Jet's following. I don't know if you can tell as much in your printing, but it's you know, he really got in there with a fine pen to get some detail in that.
Do you think he had a big morgue file back in the day, or you think a lot of this he was just coming up with out of his head?
Yeah, no, everybody had a big morgue files. A lot of those guys, they still do. You watch like interviews with like Simonson and stuff, you know, and like they've still got it, and they just haven't thrown it away yet. They just can't let go of it, even though Google is right there. But it's actually probably better to have a big morgue file like that than to use something like Google, because most of the time people will just pick the first image that they see. And so you're going to start to see like, you know, repeating images of a frog. You know, it's going to be the same shot, you know, from artist to artist, and they're not even going to be any the wiser. But fans will pick up on it.
Yeah, and they probably have better images from the morgue files if they were taking them out of magazines and stuff like that, or photos they took themselves.
Yeah, totally.
Than anything, you're going to be able to Google.
Mm-hmm.
So here's our little caravan flying through the sky, and all of a sudden here comes Mesmero's body, just kind of chucked out, but he's falling real slow. Into they're over like the Amazon, right?
Yes.
Where they're into the jungle, and Storm is just like, you monster, you callously hurl him to his death. And Magneto with his crossed arms is still just being all cool, and he's just like, no, he's gonna land nice and soft because I've got that much control of my powers. Interesting panel here too, with like Magneto in the background, Storm doing this like weird like twist, and then just sticking Jean in there.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. And then they keep going, and then here we go.
Talk about good stuff. Now this is where I really this is the page where it nailed me, where I was like, oh, we've leveled up. We're getting really interesting with this stuff here. We've built these characters up. You know, Chris did a great job of building these characters. We know who they are. Now we can get into some weird shit. And, you know, and Byrne really steps it up with this spread. It gets really, really cool from here.
Great. It's such a cool like base, such a cool like spot for like, this is where Magneto, this is where he hangs out, you know. Now you really feel like, oh, okay, this guy's super legit.
Yeah.
Like, look at this thing.
This is prime
under
comics.
a volcano. He's got to put his little force bubble to go through the lava.
Yep.
That looks so good.
And then that long panel at the bottom that shows what it looks like a cross section of it. Just man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's huge.
Yeah, a 5 mile underground lair.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Lair was one thing. This is like a city.
Yeah. What do you do with 5 miles of this?
I mean, it's 5 miles down. That thing is way longer. That thing's got to be like a 30-mile long base.
You know, and it says that this is only one of a number of installations like this that he has scattered across the globe.
He's been so busy.
But I don't remember that they ever
like how
show another one in comics.
Coming.
right?
No.
This is like the only time they visit one of these Magneto crazy things.
There's so many times through the reading.
And who built it?
Yeah, well, he did with his magnetism. Put it into place. There's so many things so many instances as we go through these where I kind of say to myself, man, it'd be really fun to revisit this and expand on it, you know, in some way. To like, I wonder if that you could have like a new classic X-Men where it even expands on things even more and takes a, you know, even more of a tangent now, you know.
Mm-hmm. This panel is great when they then they get in here and
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah,
blows the whole thing apart, and you really get a sense of like it's just all shrapnel, the wood, and everybody's like just getting tossed around like rag dolls.
Yeah, it's super violent and super kinetic. I love it.
Those lines.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Welcome to my humble home.
Yeah, humble.
5-mile installation. And now we're in the base, and now it's fight time.
Wolverine takes a bad header.
Yeah,
he does.
Right off the bat. But then Psyche gets a nice little zakow, nice little blast in right there. And Colossus comes in, trying to do some damage before he gets just thrown around.
Yeah,
and,
like he should know that he can't be armored up from the last fight.
Right? Magneto reminds us your armored form makes you the weakest X-Man.
It's like the third time he's had to remind him.
Yeah. What happens to his metal when it's not on his body? That's what I want to know.
That's his mutant power. It just goes away.
Manifests. So magic
it turns into skin. And then here comes the Beast, who makes this great little joke, the non-ferrous Beast, because he's not made of iron.
And he says, here's where I was going to say, he says, Cowabunga.
Right.
And in the previous issue, he was dressed like a undercover turtle. So I thought that was pretty funny when you mentioned the turtles in the last one.
Yeah, maybe the Beast is like the hidden, the lost ingredient to the Turtles creation.
It's very possible.
Magneto takes out each one of these characters with a different magnetic power. You know, it's like the Beast gets the static shock here.
That's the crazy thing, is you would think that Magneto, big deal, he can control magnets or control metal or whatever, you know, that's the one thing. But like they really thought about like what could he do with this power and went deeper and deeper and deeper into it. You know, that doesn't seem like an easy one to hash out, but he is so powerful with this seemingly kind of silly power.
Yeah, and every time they use it differently, like it makes him a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
You know, adding to his arsenal in that kind of way. And like the static shock here, like it's great the way like it really looks like his fur's all wrapped.
I didn't notice that before.
Oh yeah.
From the statics. So Matt, when you were a kid reading this over and over, like did you just like study like how they were getting taken, the X-Men were getting taken out, or like what Magneto was doing and stuff?
Right. I mean, obviously Wolverine and Colossus are are easy targets, but the Beast gets the static shock, and then I think there's like when we come to it, there's like he takes out each one of them differently using his magnetism.
Yeah, the way he does Storm on the next page is pretty wild. I love it.
Right.
So I had a quick question here to see if you guys knew about, so this ad here with this Clark Bar sweepstakes, and if you were the grand prize winner, you got to go to the Marvel offices, and then you were going to get drawn into an issue of your favorite Marvel comic.
Huh.
Have you ever heard if that ever happened? Did any kid actually get themselves drawn into a Marvel comic?
You
No, I
would
don't
you would
know.
think they had to come through, but I don't think they ever announced it.
That's one we'll have to look up because
Yeah, I'm gonna look. I'm writing it down right now. We're gonna look that up.
Talk about deep cuts.
Yeah, like we need to, if it actually happened, we'll have to maybe get that issue just to show off whatever kid won. Because
Yeah.
you know, there's ads throughout some of these early Marvels that are like notorious for where they were selling products, right? But then like if you mailed away, you never got the product. Like they
Right.
were just grifting you. But this one, like I really wonder, like, well, did some kid actually get to go and pick, like, and maybe he picked Red Sonja. He's like, I want to be in Red Sonja.
Yeah. Or whatever the D-list book was that was going on at that time.
But yeah, anyway, that one struck me. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Now I want
For the
a Clark
record,
bar, and I don't even know what
I
it
was
is.
going to say, for the record, I've never had a Clark bar.
No.
So.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe nobody entered because no one wanted to buy a Clark bar.
Look at all these candy bars that are like defunct now. You got the Clark, you got the Zagnut.
Zagnut.
Abba Zabbas
they're
are still
around, right?
What's that?
Milk Duds, they're still around.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a
Yeah.
movie theater staple. But you got Crispy, and you got Light, and you got what's that?
The peanut butter log.
Oh jeez.
Black Cow.
Yeah, those might actually still be around. I think the Black Cow is just like a caramel bar. Weird. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, this is definitely D-list candy bars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, now we're back in the action here, and the Beast, after he got his static charge, he just kind of gets chucked away, and just his head gets blasted into the wall here.
He's had a tough couple issues with concussions.
Yeah, he has, man. He needs to go and see somebody.
Yeah, he needs to be in the protocol, right? He needs to sit down. And yeah, he like barely talk here, and again he's just like face planted.
Yeah.
He's like,
don't take a nap, Beast.
Yeah. And then Storm is gonna try her powers, see if she can take out Magneto. And I thought this was great, where like she almost gets him, but it reminds us of her oath never to like kill another person.
Right.
And because she wouldn't go just enough to where she could kill Magneto, it's not enough to beat him.
In fact, the cold that she's trying to get him with makes it for like almost like, what is it? They call it like
superconductor.
He's a superconductor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that's so good. And the line work.
That's
go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's what I mean by every member of the X-Men gets taken out by a different magnetic power here. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
The line work that Austin is using here for that third panel there, where Storm is like whipping up her powers there, is just like, I don't know any other way to describe it, but that's some sexy line work. That is like some like Japanese mastery of the brush and ink. I don't understand. This is what I don't understand. When I'm working personally, and I'm working with a brush, I just keep going with the brush. I never like stop and switch to like a nib. Right. Or if I'm working with a nib, I just keep going with the nib, and I don't really stop to go back with the brush. And he's got this like perfect balance of the two. I don't like, it just shows you how good he is. And to the fact that I can't really tell sometimes if he's using a nib or a brush. Like on the second panel there with her hair, is that a brush line, or is he pressing hard with the nib? I can't tell. He's just so good with it. I
wonder if he worked like Joe Kubert would work, right? With like multiple tools in one hand. And so you could just like put one in between the fingers, grab one to do. Do you ever hear those stories?
Yeah.
So I wonder if maybe he actually had like
I
a
didn't.
couple things. Yeah, they said like guys at the Kubert school would get to sit in and watch him, draw on ink pages and stuff. And so he would like in between his fingers, he would hold like his different tools in his non-drawing hand. So then he could just like switch real fast between what he was inking with.
It also speaks to how, I guess, like, he would tell people that, a brush only lasts for, like an issue, if that. And then you would have, there's stories about how like Eisner would come in and be like, I've seen this brush. I've had this brush for 40 years. They'd be like, well, how is that possible? And he'd be like, well, you just don't, you don't dip it, into the, I don't remember what it's called, but whatever, the metal part is, where you don't dip it that far in, and you wash your brush, every couple minutes. And it'll preserve it. And, he and Joe would get into arguments about that. He's like, the hell with that. And that just speaks to it, because if Joe would have been using dip quills and brushes, there's no way that he's washing that every time if he's like switching between them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So his tools were probably just got destroyed. I know mine do, just because I'll dip too far, and then I'll put it down, and then the end of the day will come, and I'll close up my ink, but I'll forget to rinse my brushes, and I just destroy them all the time. So it's an expensive habit. I got to break that.
Yeah, but like a good brush will last for a long time, right? Because right, like Milton Caniff, like some of his brushes, like Jeff Smith got a hold of them, years later, and then used them on Bone.
Is that right?
Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
And stuff.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because they were going to just get thrown away, like, because they had a huge collection of them at Ohio State.
Oh my God.
Milton Caniff brushes, and he was like, I'll take some.
Sorry for the side brush talk, but it's like, this is a big deal to me. But this brush right here, let me pull it up. This brush right here is like this like special Japanese brush. And if you can see at the end, it's hard to focus, but I've like completely destroyed it. And I could not find any more of them. There's this like Japanese art store downtown Los Angeles that I went to, and I was like, can you find these? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, we've never really seen those before. We'll keep an eye out. 3 years later, they sent me an email and said, guess what? We found 5 of them for you. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Thank goodness. So I went and bought them all. I've now destroyed 3 of them. I've only got 2 left. And I thought that I had lost them, so I was panicking. So I called Sean, Japan Book Hunter, to see if he could track them down for me. And he was like, dude, they don't make them anymore. You have probably like the last 2 in existence. And I was like, oh no, once these things die. So now I've gotten very, very diligent about cleaning my brushes.
Man, that's some good customer service, that store, man. Years later that they found some and they got a hold of you.
Blew my mind.
Amazing.
Blew my mind.
That is amazing.
Anyway.
So yeah, Storm gets taken out. And here we get this last great little panel here, back to our newest Nightcrawler ability, where he's invisible in the shadows.
Love it.
It's still happening.
You think that's what that is, or do you think it's just an artistic choice to have him just hidden in the shadows, or do you think it's actually the power?
I think it's still that he still has that power that they introduced back in 103 or what, issue 103 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. But it's the first time we've seen it happen since then.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
But also a great artistic choice.
Yeah. And again, like using a different kind of ability, like he can kind of sense Nightcrawler coming down and just sort of ricochets him back up. And here's where we get one of these good Colossus moments where he's got to decide.
Yeah.
If he stays metal, he might injure his teammate.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. He's trying to crash them together.
Mm-hmm.
And he does the calculations in his head real quick that at the velocity that they're going, if he's metal, he will kill him. But if he turns back into flesh, he might die from the fall to the ground.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
No. But he's got to change that. He's got to save his friend's life.
Yes.
And then we get back to now here comes Banshee versus Magneto. And in issue 104, that was sort of like Magneto was giving Banshee props. He was like, you're a worthy foe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Banshee's reminding us because he's trying that sort of little iron flake thing again, where he sort of encased Banshee's face in that sort of terrifying little trap he put him in.
Yeah, that was pretty awful. That was a pretty awful moment.
Mm-hmm. But the Banshee gives this awesome scream to just like get those things away from him. And but the Magneto is able to sort of vibrate like the sounds.
Yeah.
He reflects his powers back at him.
Uh-huh. And Cyclops, a good like silent curse. Damn. And this is cool. Like here we get like now Byrne trying to do the little magnetic force field, getting the wave thing that Cockrum did.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't come off quite as good, but I like that he's trying it because I like that effect.
Yep. Cockrum was really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in 104 when he drew his magnetic power, it was really cool. It had it was like crossing them, and you could just see the silhouette was colored and stuff. Yeah,
I remember. That was really awesome.
Yeah, it'd be cool and I think that's maybe the only time we ever see that. I don't know that anybody else ever like attempts that, and maybe that's just like kind of difficult to draw it that way.
It is, yeah,
time consuming or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Cyclops is sort of almost our last guy standing. And, Magneto pulls a great sort of Darth Vader trick, just like rips stuff off the wall and just clubs him with it,
Uh-huh.
Good machinery.
Yeah, great machinery. Yeah, he's really good at that.
Yeah, Byrne doesn't take any shortcut. He if he's going to draw like machines or something, like he's going all in. He's going to draw the heck out of that.
I really wish
what do all these machines do?
Yeah, right. I really wish that they were surviving. I mean, maybe there are somewhere like surviving scans of the pencils of his stuff, because I know that like Byrne is now or was doing those like, doing his take of whatever the hell he was doing with and releasing them as pencils. But like, what did they look like back then? Because I'm pretty sure that unless they were photocopied, which I think was pretty expensive to do at that point, and they didn't do too often, which is why you don't see a lot of Kirby pencils. I'm pretty sure that Austin would have inked directly on the pencils and erased whatever was left at that point. So I just wonder how like intricate Byrne's pencils were. He would have to have that's a hell of a sharp pencil, to keep that sharp all the time for those little details.
That is a good point. But yeah, I mean, he has to be penciling really tight.
Yeah, gotta be.
But now we get, here comes Phoenix.
Yeah.
He's not ready for her.
Nope.
And
the way that he draws the fire is better than Cockrum did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And of course we get to see, you know, she's using her powers, so we get the Firebird there, and even Magneto, he's like, good Lord. He's just like, whoa. What the heck? Because he's like, you know, he's saying it's like he's getting assaulted like physically and psychically. And it's like power that rivals Xavier.
On that third panel with Magneto's in the shadows and stuff, it's got all that great screen tone on it again.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like a vertical line screen tone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's got a good effect to it though.
It does. It really does. And less toxic than what's it called? The stuff they used on the Turtles pages.
Duotone.
Duotone, yeah.
Yeah. And here we go. She's beaten Magneto back all by herself. Power of the raging sun.
Yes.
And she remarks that like Magneto looks scared. And you know, he should be. You would be scared, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, he thought he had the upper hand here.
But again, every time she uses her Phoenix abilities, they always give us this little thing where like filling her with a primal glory and unhuman joy that she's beginning to enjoy more and more.
I love that they're already planting the seeds for what's to come here. You know, like,
yeah,
Claremont was so good at planting and harvesting.
Mm-hmm. But she basically like uses up all her power, and has reached some sort of limit. And she's like, I didn't think I had a limit.
Yeah, and look at her shiny gold glove there. That's a great drawing.
Yeah. And Magneto takes that moment to sort of take her out, creates a bottle effect around her with his magnetic forces.
Mm-hmm.
So that he can survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Draws her life energy out of her like a sponge.
Oof. And the arc of the arc of the energy coming up like a wave like that's so good.
Yeah.
Another page that works very well for the flow.
And but here we go. Here's our Wolverine, who took that mean header right away and was knocked out for the whole fight, and now he's coming to. I like he's like Maggie's putting the kibosh on Jeannie.
Yeah.
Like she's down for the count. And so he takes his best shot, but he kind of like just misses. He misses him with his claws.
How weak.
Yeah. Just
only get his cape.
Uh-huh. Just this flaming cape. And now here we get our image from the cover where now Magneto's going to like force his claws right back into his own face. Like that's just brutal.
You even got pupils in his eyes here. His eyes are so wide.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's weird.
I know he smacks himself in the face and he pulls the claws out, but man, I don't know that they've established his healing factor to be as powerful as it is, but that would have been just great if he would have just right into his eyeballs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they haven't mentioned that he has a healing factor yet to this point.
No.
They haven't?
No. and we don't know, and they haven't mentioned that he's got a metal skeleton either. So like all we know is like this could be it. Like he could basically knife himself in the head and kill himself. Yeah, but that's great.
They were certainly not going to put their claws through his eyes when they couldn't even scratch Magneto.
No. No.
Yeah, so like, look at this. In one page, Wolverine wakes up from being unconscious.
Yeah.
And then 3 panels later, pleasant dreams, Wolverine, and he's just like socked right back out.
Brow.
Oh, man. So Magneto has won. He beat them all. And so now what's he going to do with them? He is still stewing about being turned into a little baby and being left to have to grow up again. And he's saying that even as an infant, he remembered that he had been this awesome, evil person. And it didn't really do any good to like turn him into a kid because he was still the same terrible guy. And so he wanted vengeance even then.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that storyline.
Yeah. I mean, it's just bonker stuff. And, it didn't happen in issues of X-Men.
No, Defenders?
Yeah, because they were in reprints, so he was just hopping around in other books. Yeah, it's the beginning of all the weird X-Men de-aging, re-aging, weird baby stuff. And of course, so then it introduces us to, here's the robot nanny.
That is so weird.
God, I hate nanny.
You know where my brain like automatically went was like, this would put some sort of twist on Muppet Babies. If the nanny whose legs you only see in the entire series was this thing, and at the end of the series they pull back and it's like they have to escape from the nanny to become the actual Muppets that we know and love.
Right, just in a jail the whole time.
Again, with the this is like the 6th time that the evil person has been ready with a whole array of a contraption that like mutes their powers.
Yeah,
this has happened so many times already. It's like we need to move away from this.
Mm-hmm. It is cool, like the way he draws like these like chairs they're all strapped into. Like,
I hope they're also toilets since they're going to be there for a while.
I think that's the idea. Like there's, because they're never getting out of these things.
Yeah.
They're going to be trapped forever. But they kind of look like what, Xavier's when he upgrades his wheelchair way down the line, and he gets his cool floating chair, kind of, it has these kind of designs to it or whatever.
Yeah.
But so that's Magneto's evil plan is they're basically going to be imprisoned in these little things where they can't use their powers and they can't even speak, but they're going to be treated like little babies, but in their minds, they'll know that they're adults and they're just trapped.
That is wild.
That's harsh.
Yeah. What a weird vengeance scheme.
Yeah, it is kind of, it's an odd scheme, but I guess, that's how, he's like given this backstory that Magneto got de-aged. And so he has to like turning back into an adult, Claremont does. And then it's like, well, if this had happened to him, I guess it would make sense that maybe this is what I have to work with. This is why he's angry. currently, and it gives him at least gives him a purpose beyond like I'm going to conquer the world and you're standing in my way. You know.
Yep.
He's got some motivation.
This final page is a really great moment for the art team to shine and just show some detailed faces. I really love, especially like believe it or not, like one of my favorite faces here is Banshee's. Just something about it. But then his Nightcrawler here is just fantastic.
I was going to say that Nightcrawler is never looked better. What a great drawing.
Better. Never looked better. And then when you get down to the bottom here, you get down to Magneto, and there's just another great use of that vertical screen tone that, you know, I found the original art of this page, so I'll pop it up there so you can take everybody can take a closer look at each of these faces, because it's pretty great, and it really shows off the inking skills here too. But yeah, I can't wait to see where they go from here, because you know, I'm imagining they get out, but like somebody, I feel like somebody
probably a safe bet.
Yeah, I feel like somebody has to come in and get them out somehow, because if they're that, you know, incapacitated, like, I'm just thinking, because I haven't read it. This is my first read through of all this stuff. I have no idea. I'm trying to, like, how would I write them out? It would have to be somebody would come in, but who could come in through that volcano? All right.
I jumped ahead because I never had read it, even though this was one of my favorite books, and it ends on this crazy cliffhanger. It's some 40-something years or something, but so I read it, and I think you'll like it. They do it good.
So that is how we come to the end of the actual first issue. Let's go take a look now at at the where did we go? Here we go. With the classic issue, we were back to Art Adams doing the cover. That's a pretty great Magneto face, and Austin. Art's not at the top of his game yet in his career yet. Even, I mean, I think he is probably now at this point. You know, and he's so intricate now. But then again, he's also inking himself. But this is Adams and Austin. It is September of 1987. So let's see here. Oh, and here's the interior art, which we were commenting last time, John, that you like almost love these more than the covers, and I totally agree.
I do. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's the fact that it's shrunk down to so that the line work is more intricate.
They're more interesting, like in more interesting poses, and he does more interesting sometimes characters or like little moments from the story that like you might not put on a cover themselves,
right?
But but he can just draw it in there, and he's not like having to kind of recreate the cover that he's mimicking, and stuff. And so I don't know, they just sort of pop to me.
Look at how oh man, I love his feet here. They're so like alien and like chickeny or something.
He does a great Nightcrawler.
Yeah,
great Nightcrawler. Yeah, so skinny and like his fingers and everything looks so weird.
And Beast's toes are even kind of going like wiggling. I love it. So let's see.
That first page, Chris.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. So in the original, it's got that big Magneto triumphant like caption box there. So they had to draw the rest of Magneto and the Beast there.
Yes. Yep. And it doesn't say who did that, but they usually tried to get the team back together to do stuff. But I know that they usually use like Kieran Dwyer to do the fill-in pages. For example, Right away, we get this page
wow.
here. So we get this double page spread, and it's just sort of like what's going through everybody's head, and Scott talking to Jean here and seeing if she can read his mind, and to see if she could read everybody's mind, but Magneto's especially, to see like what he's thinking, like what's going on here. But you know, she's not used to her powers yet, and so like there's just too many thoughts, you know, for her to get through to really get a clear idea of what she's doing. So you know, you just get some little character moments. You know, it's nothing crazy. It doesn't really add to the story. And then you get one more page here after here that Kieran Dwyer does, where it's basically Jean again, just kind of in this, they extend the fight between the two of them, and she is just talking about how you know, they said it already in one sentence, but he extends it for a whole page about how, you know, she's just not able to, she's got so much power, and she's scared that she isn't going to be able to control it, you know, and then you go into her losing the power. So that's just sort of how that ends. And then the story at the end that they add it's kind of an odd one. It's called Stalking Life. And you get Jean out in the woods because she just wants to get away from everybody, because the constant barrage of people's thoughts has just kind of been too much for her. And you get this person sort of stalking her in the woods with a knife. Ooh. Coming at her and flying over. And who is it? Oh, it's Logan. And, you know, she turns into Phoenix and grabs the knife and is like, what the hell are you doing? She's like, well, you're not safe out here, you know, by yourself. You should be with us, because you're, you know, you're in a sorry state right now mentally. You should hang out with us. And she's kind of like, well, that's why I came out here. And and he said that he snuck up on her with the knife because he wanted to like try to remain primal and not put his claws out, because he thought that she would recognize him as a person. And if the claws came out, it would give him away or something. I don't know. It's kind of weird there. And then all of a sudden, like the rest of the X-Men are also like stalking her. So you got Banshee here showing up, and she was just about to make a pot of coffee. So she's like, hey, let's have some coffee. I'm going to get some water. She pulls the entire lake out of the bed, because it's easier for her to just pull the whole lake out than to walk over and dip the coffee pot in, is what she says. Ridiculous.
Really getting back to nature.
Yeah. I kind of like this shot where like the lake's hovering above and you see this fish, and Banshee's like, what the hell? And then, you know, you got Kurt showing up. I don't know, for some reason he jumps down from the tree but gets washed into the lake. And she uses her power to pick the lake up and put it back and make some coffee. The end. Kind of an odd one. Don't really know what that one was all about, or if it added anything, but kind of a cool back cover with him stalking in the back with a knife.
Yeah, that back cover is nice.
Yeah. So that's that. And so ends issue, what was it? 112. 112 of the X-Men run.
So yeah, final thoughts, guys. I mean, I enjoy 112 a lot more than the Magneto fight in 104.
Oh yeah.
You know, and Magneto is just starting to feel like he's got a little more personality in this issue.
Yeah, he's pretty ruthless in this one, whereas before he was just kind of like vanilla, you know.
Yeah, he was way more stereotypical cliche villain. Yeah. In, you know, like 104.
Yeah.
And earlier.
Knowing where they go with him, it's going to be interesting to see him develop, you know.
Yeah, I mean, this issue, I mean, I've already said this is one of my favorite issues as a kid. So
Yeah.
I was really glad to take a look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, John, do you have anything else to what your thoughts are at the end of it?
No, I mean, I think Claremont is really reached sort of like the tip top of his game, here. Byrne is fantastic at this point. Like he's really gotten a good hold on what he's doing, artistically. And it was just another great issue. And now they're going to go monthly with it. Another good cliffhanger at the end. Every issue they're giving us these good reasons to come back.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes from here, because the cool thing about these is that that you don't get anymore in comics is you'll have a writer on for like at the most 15 issues, 16 issues or something like that. You're going to have an artist on there for one issue if you're lucky, but sometimes 5, 6, 7. Because this was allowed to roll on, and Chris really he was like really the puppet master of this. He had this whole world in his head developing, and he only had to step outside of it. Well, I mean, I know he's writing Team Up, which gives him like a toe into the rest of the world of what's going on there. So he can kind of do whatever he wants with this. And it's just, we're really lucky that we got a moment for somebody to develop something like this. And now he's really starting to move forward. Like I'd said before, he's gotten the character development of these characters kind of out of the way. And now he's free. He's unchained.
It's issues like these that really provided the momentum that made X-Men such a tremendous fan base, going into the 80s and stuff. I mean, it was this stuff that really, all the seeding of all the stories and then the payoffs and the constant reseeding, like this is the stuff that really snowballed, like made, X-Men into what it is known for today.
Totally agree. All right. Well, we're going to find out what happens to our Mighty Mutants in the next issue. So go grab your copy. Matt, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your thoughts from this like early experience of your comic reading, and thanks again too, because you've been vocal about following along with us this whole time. We've got a couple people that like to chime in and give their thoughts and stuff, and we really appreciate it. We're not just like two guys screaming into the void, and that makes us want to keep going. So we appreciate that.
Well, now I'm going to take 10 weeks off, and then I'll resume.
Okay. Don't forget. But the rest of you're not so lucky. You don't get 10 weeks off because you got to come back next week. And so Matt, where can people find you on the webs?
You can find my bullshit at Instagram, King Megatrip 23, and you can find Tales to Enlighten also on Instagram at Tales to Enlighten. And you can buy the book if you feel so inclined at my Etsy store.
I highly recommend
kingmegatrip.etsy.com.
Cool. I'll put that in the show notes. John, where do we find you?
Thank you.
Comics on dinobeast.com and JD Coates on the Instagram.
Rad. Chris Anderson Comics, everything for me. I will have a speed drawing of the thumbnail at the end. Those are also for sale, by the way, on my website. So if you like the thumbnail,
they're so cool.
You can have it, do whatever you want with it. And once you buy it, it's yours. Put it on the wall, burn it, use it for toilet paper, whatever you want. But that's up to you.
I can't wait to see what the 112 thumbnail is going to be.
I feel like after James Coates was on here, I feel like I need to push it into the weird a little bit more. He did a very good job of standing in for me on those ones. So it might get a little bit weirder from here on out. But
all right.
Until next time, everybody, stay excellent. Later. Bye. Check out DinoBeast.com for all things John Coates like Dino Beast, Ninja 4, MLF, Berserker, and more. ChrisAndersonComics.com is where it's at for books like Chaotic Neutral, Spectral, A Showcase of Fear, Lost Angels, and more, plus apparel and original art. Also a link to Patreon where you can read Three-Headed Pigman now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. We'll see you next time on the Claremont Xmen Comic Club.